Part 8. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 71. With a gap of 800,000 years, how did my father and mother get together? Su Kingxiu was a little confused. Moreover, her father was a bit too outrageous. In his 20s, he was almost as powerful as his mother. It was outrageous. And what kind of amazing luck did he have to have such two people? Powerful parents. Just when Su Kingxiu was about to ask Su Chang'e what happened back then, a divine light was inspired from the inside of the shaking light Holy Land, reaching directly into the sky. At the same time, terrifying pressure swept out. Countless buildings collapsed. A majestic splendor hung from the sky. At the same time, the earth collapsed, and an ancient bronze temple appeared in front of the world. The relic has been born. Holy Lord Yaoguang was a little shocked. Originally, he had planned to order the disciples to evacuate quickly, but now that the ruins suddenly appeared, it was too late. Many monks saw the splendor in the sky and came here after hearing the news. When this kind of ruins appeared, everyone wants a piece of the pie. But the shaking light Holy Land is not a vegetarian. Except for the places exchanged for resources in major holy places, no one else can enter. Soon, many holy sons and goddesses from the holy places set off directly and rushed towards the ruins. Come here. Holy Lord Yaoguang is not a saint. He cares about the interests of his section. How can the relics that came out of his sect be distributed to casual cultivators for free? It is simply impossible. Kingxiu, come in. Holy Lord, Su will go to the ruins now and leave the divine message to Su. Su Chang'e smiled slightly. He was very gentle. But Holy Lord Yaoguang felt that once Su Chang'e left, there would be many crises. He wanted to say something, but when he looked up again, he only saw Su Chang'e's back. Senior Su, the 328th Holy Lord of Yaoguang, on behalf of all the disciples and elders of Yaoguang Holy Land, thanks Senior Su. Holy Lord Yaoguang had tears in his eyes. He knelt down on the ground and kowtowed 9 times to Su Chang'e's back. He didn't use any cultivation. When he got up again, his forehead had already appeared. Blurred blood. Senior Su is so righteous. Holy Lord Yaoguang slumped powerlessly in his seat. If the divine mind is really born, then the entire lower world will be doomed. There will be nowhere to run. The divine mind of a great emperor is enough to destroy the entire lower world. Holy Lord Yaoguang was moved to death over there, but Su Chang'e was leading Su Kingxiu to complain like crazy. Nangong Wen's aesthetics are too bad. Su Chang'e looked at the magnificent ancient bronze palace and couldn't help complaining. It looks magnificent, but in fact it's just because there are more Taoist rhymes. Otherwise, he would never be so tyrannical. Nangong Wen, that violent woman, probably doesn't understand any art. Dad, can I go in by myself? Su Kingxiu is a little scared. There is a divine thought here. Although she has no heart not and has the heart of an empress, she is still just a little girl in the magical realm. Facing the divine thought, she just rushes forward. If you do, you will die. That's not heroic, that's stupid. Don't worry, your father will always be by your side. No wonder your mother asked me to follow you here. This thing is really too much for you. The corner of Su Chang'e's mouth twitched. I guess Nangong Wen, that thick-lined woman, never thought of this at all back then. Anyway, he has to solve this mess no matter what. Go in. Su Chang'e put on the bronze mask, and at the same time his figure gradually disappeared, silently following behind Su Kingxiu. Ah! Dad! Where did you go? As soon as Su Chang'e disappeared, Su Kingxiu shouted. Su Chang'e appeared again, feeling helpless. Forget it, as a father, I don't hide anymore, let's go in. Su Chang'e smiled, pinched Su Kingxiu's armpits, hugged Su Kingxiu in his arms, and quickly walked into the ancient bronze palace. Oops. Pinch someone else's place again. Ahem, children, please speak clearly. Do you understand the armpits? New. It is said to be an ancient palace, but in fact it is more like a sleeping palace. Suchanga estimated that this was the place where Nangong Wen lived many years ago. Then the god's thoughts came to the door, and then Nangong Wen suppressed them directly. Anyway, this god's thoughts quite miserable. He was probably beaten violently back then. After Suchanga and Sukingsyu entered, figures with powerful auras appeared one after another. En Qingnian, saint of the Western Desert Zen sect, holy son of Yaoguang, third prince, holy son of Xuanyi Holy Land, Zhu Qingzhu. Almost all the famous geniuses in the southern region have gathered here, and at the same time, the eyes of all the major forces are also looking at the holy land of shaking light. Seeing that everyone was here, Holy Son Yaoguang cleared his throat and decided to give a piece of advice. Everyone, I would like to advise you here. There is a big crisis in the ancient bronze palace. Senior Su has already entered, but even if he is as strong as Senior Su, he can still defeat it with confidence. But there are also countless opportunities. It's up to you to decide whether to stay or go. The holy son of Yaoguang sighed, with deep admiration and worry in his eyes. Senior Su is really the direction he has been pursuing and striving for all his life. What, Chang'e is in it? And there is a terminal crisis. And Qingnian panicked instantly. Her face turned pale, and then she took a step forward and disappeared in front of everyone. She was going to find Suchanga. If Suchanga died inside, then she would not live in this world. Get in. Soon, these geniuses all entered the ancient bronze palace. The holy son of Yaoguang sighed. I hope these guys will not encounter the gods, otherwise they will definitely be the first to be killed. Chance, always and crisis coexisting. Although it is Nangong Wen's dormitory, this dormitory is larger than imagined. Suchanga was confused as to why Nangong Wen had to have such a big bedroom. That's outrageous. There are countless rooms in the ancient bronze palace, and each room is exactly the same. The decoration, layout, and even every detail are exactly the same. Really sick. Suchanga couldn't complain anymore. He just wanted to find the divine mind as soon as possible, solve this mess, and then find out the technique that Nangong Wen said was most suitable for the chaos body. After finishing it, he quickly replied, Tianya, have a good sleep. Are you tired of Qingxiu? Su Qingxiu pointed to Suchanga's hands holding her, and at the same time pointed to Suchanga. She was being hugged all the time. Tired of hammering. Unconsciously, Su Qingxiu even felt bored. She has Nangong Wen's bloodline, so the various restrictions in the palace are not triggered at all. If only Linger was here. Su Qingxiu sighed. Linger felt a little afraid of meeting people at that time, so she stayed on the boat of creation with Shidao and Long Yu. Dad. So boring, tell me a joke. All right. The corner of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. He was getting bored. This is an ancient bronze palace that is full of dangers. In fantasy novels, this kind of ancient bronze palace is a terrifying existence. But Su Qingxiu, because of her bloodline, is just like her own home. If there were no gods, she would be fine sleeping here every day. Speak quickly. Speak quickly. Well, once upon a time there was a mountain, and there was a temple in the mountain. Then what? There is an old monk in the temple telling a story to the young monk. And then, what story are you telling? It's about, once upon a time there was a mountain. Su Qingxiu's big eyes flashed with confusion. There was no reaction for a moment. It took a moment to react. Hateful. You actually fooled me with this infinite loop thing. This is the avenue, and the avenue itself is cyclical. Avenue. Su Qingxiu was stunned. Aren't you telling a joke? Why did the topic suddenly become so advanced? Haha, I lied to you. Bad dad. Haha, kiss daddy. Don't want. A kiss from daddy will make it even more fun. Great. Then there was a chirp, so Kingsu's face turned red with shame, and she buried her little head tightly in Suchanga's arms. Suchanga smiled. Good girl. At the same time, the saints and saints had entered the ancient bronze temple. What the hell is this place? Cold sweat dripped from Ankingnian's forehead. The moment she entered this ancient bronze palace, there was a terrifying pressure that suppressed her. At the same time, there were bursts of magical sounds surrounding her ears. Long song. Long song. And Qingnian murmured in his mouth, his eyes full of blazing love, which actually blocked that kind of evil thoughts. Then Qingnian walked towards the depths of the bronze ancient palace. He happened to follow the path of Suchanga. However, the other saints and saints did not have such luck. They took the wrong path just after entering the ancient bronze palace, were restrained by pressure, and were bewitched by the magic sound at the same time, and instantly fell into a struggle. Don't call it a chance. They couldn't move a step. Despair. Interesting little guy, just the name Changa can stop this emperor from being bewitched. In the depths of the ancient bronze palace, a pure black spirit body floated, with human confusion in its two scarlet eyes. The word Long Song directly wiped out his demonic voice. Where is this Long Song? Master? Could it be the man who just walked in with the little girl in his arms? The god thought for a while, then confusion flashed in his eyes, and his red eyes stared at an ancient coffin in front of him. As long as we confirm that the crazy woman is not dead, I can rule the world again. Shen Nian is very afraid of this ancient coffin. Shen Nian doesn't know what is in the ancient coffin. But he can be sure that this is definitely the backhand left by that crazy woman. Shen Nian is thinking about it. I heard footsteps and the sound of father and daughter talking. Geez, dad jokes are so funny. Okay, daddy will tell you another one. Okay ba. The joke is, it's just that Holy Lord Yaoguang feels that dad can't defeat God Nian. Ha 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 ha. Kingsu is laughing so hard. The god's red eyes flashed with murderous intent. Laugh. How dare you provoke this emperor? Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 72. Shen Nian slowly raised his head and stared at Suchanga, who slowly walked in with his scarlet eyes. Suchanga's face wore a mysterious bronze mask. It was the one Nangang Wen gave him back then. It's you. Crazy woman. When Shen Nian saw the mask on Suchanga's face, he was instantly startled, and a flash of panic flashed in his eyes. Nangang Wen had left such a deep impression on him back then. That female devil was really too powerful. Got it? Suchanga was confused for a moment. Woman. Oh yes. She probably thinks she is Nangang Wen. Back then, Nangang Wen liked to wear this mask and cause trouble everywhere, and then she didn't understand what she was doing, causing a lot of mess. As a result, he now has to solve them one by one. So annoying. Are you Nangang Wen? I am her husband. A trace of confusion flashed in Shen Nian's eyes. Why is he a man? But he reacted immediately. Can such a gorgeous woman have a husband? You must be lying to yourself. This emperor has already guessed it. You just got Nangang Wen's inheritance, haha, you still want to deceive me. The god Nian laughed loudly. Then he suddenly stopped and looked at Suchanga with his scarlet eyes. Suchanga was a little helpless. I always feel that this idea of deity is like a lunatic, and does not have the majesty of a great emperor at all. But there is nothing that can be done. The divine thoughts themselves are the condensed form of all evil thoughts, and most of them behave erratically. So as long as there are gods and gods, someone will definitely take action to kill them. This thing is for the harm of the world. Which great emperor were you during your lifetime? Suchanga asked with a smile. Before this emperor was alive? Is this emperor dead? Shen Nian just wanted to reply, and then he felt a sharp pain, and he couldn't remember any previous memories. He was rolling on the ground in pain, and he kept roaring. What a retard! Suchanga sighed. He was about to take action to kill this god, but he suddenly calmed down. This emperor is the emperor of Luantian. The god Nian's eyes were scarlet. After saying these words, he erupted directly, and the terrifying pressure spread out. The bronze immortal palace was trembling, and the lower world was filled with the terrifying imperial power. Wait a moment. Suchanga stopped the gods. What's wrong? Wait, why should I listen to you? Die to this emperor. Wait a moment. What's wrong? Fine. Come to death. Wait a moment. Suchanga laughed. This god thought, his mind is not normal anymore. But the divine thoughts of Emperor Luantian, keeping it still has some effect. Emperor Luantian has been dead for a long time, but there is no inheritance in the world. Maybe he can find the inheritance of Emperor Luantian by relying on Emperor Luantian's divine thoughts. Suchanga is not needed, but whether it's for Linger or King Xiu, it's okay. Suchanga thinks about his daughter everywhere. Lock. Suchanga drank lightly. Then chains appeared directly out of thin air, imprisoning the gods directly, making them unable to move. The gods were dumbfounded. The scarlet eyes were full of confusion. What happened? Why can't I move? The guy in front of me is so strong. Asshole. Nangong Win. Asshole. You are Nangong Win. I didn't expect you to be reincarnated as a man. Hateful. Hateful. The god kept roaring, but he couldn't break free from Suchanga's imprisonment. Don't worry about who I am, let me ask you, there is a volume of exercises in this ancient bronze palace, do you know where it is? Suchanga asked with a smile. What technique? The mind of God Nian is a little abnormal. Now he just wants to swallow Suchanga. It's the kung fu left by Nangong Win. I will never tell you that everything Nangong Win left behind is in the coffin. Suchanga glanced at Qin Nian in surprise. But I found that this guy looked at the coffin with fear in his eyes. As expected, this guy must be trying to trick him. Then put you in the coffin. Suchanga smiled evilly. You want to trick me? Back then, Su tricked me all over the world, and countless restricted area supremes were tricked by Su until they were left with only one pair of pants. Don't want. The god Nian resisted crazily, but it had no effect in front of Suchanga. He directly lifted a corner of the coffin lid and stuffed the god Nian inside. Ah! Then there was a shrill roar. Suchanga didn't know what was in the coffin. This is the emperor's coffin. But listening to the screams inside, it should be pretty scary anyway. Let me go, let me go. After a long while, the god said feebly. Then Suchanga opened the lid of the coffin and looked inside the coffin. The gods were very miserable, as if they had been tortured. Dad, he is so miserable. Don't be afraid, King Xiu, he is miserable, aren't we doing well? Yes, Dad. What a wit. Listening to the conversation between Suchanga and Su King Xiu, the dying god Nian was about to get angry to death. Ha ha. Su King Xiu smiled very happily, and her little face trembled. Although the father and daughter usually quarrel with each other, if they deal with outsiders together, they will definitely make people angry to death. This divine thought, now I'm about to be pissed off. Nangong Win, I won't let you go. Su is not Nangong Win. You are, there is no need to deceive this emperor. Who else wears that silly mask besides you? The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. He thought it was quite mysterious to carry it. Back then, she was the one who felt that Nangong Wen was very mysterious, so she worked hard to be honest with her. But as soon as the gods finished speaking, a terrifying coercion appeared inside the coffin. Then countless golden lights erupted from the coffin. When it touches the gods, it will make a sizzling sound. Ah! The gods began to cry again. After a while, the golden light gradually disappeared, and then a projection appeared from the coffin. It was Nangong Wen. But Nangong Wen's face wore the same couple's mask as Suchanga's. I didn't expect it, Suchanga. A gift specially prepared for you. Nangong Wen smiled slightly. She was happy in her heart. The holy light in the coffin was specially planted here after she left Duantianya. It was specially prepared for Suchanga. In order to give Suchanga a big shock. Wait, why are you okay? Nangong Wen suddenly realized that Suchanga seemed to be fine, and took a breath of cold air. Could it be that Suchanga had far exceeded her strength? Otherwise, he would never be intact. Girl. Nangong Wen. I've been so good to you, but you actually want to harm me. Suchanga curled his lips, deliberately took off his mask, and gave Nangong Wen a big roll of his eyes. Ahem, it's a surprise, a surprise. Isn't it a surprise to appear in the holy light? Nangong Wen looked at the dying god in the coffin and reacted instantly. Suchanga, a shrewd little bastard, was not fooled at all. Damn it! Why are you so smart? After all, what exactly do you want to do with this whole episode? Suchanga asked forcefully. Ahem, it's okay. I have something to do in the upper realm. I'll leave these relics in the lower realm to you. Am I a tool person? No, it's for clearing the snow. Then call me husband. Nangong Wen's face suddenly turned red. Such words. How could you possibly say it? It's not like I haven't screamed before. Suchanga smiled slightly. That, then, can it be the same? Little bastard. Although Nangong Wen is only in projection mode now and is wearing a mask, her face is red under the mask. Why does this bastard Suchanga say anything? Humph, you dare to offend me, Suchanga. I will punish you by playing the piano and confessing your love to me. Otherwise, you will not be able to take away this holy art of all transformations. Nangong Wen raised her eyebrows and chuckled. I haven't talked about piano for many years. I don't care. Is it necessary? It must be. You have never officially confessed your love to me, you have always been in love with other women. Suchanga sighed, and just when he was about to say something, he heard the weak god thought making a hoarse voice. You too. Enough. Then Suchanga and Nangong Wen turned around at the same time, staring at the gods and thinking. Shut up. The god's soul was shaken by his thoughts, and he almost lost his soul. Sukingsyu felt helpless and sighed. Mom and Dad are really a pair of living treasures. He is obviously the strongest person in the world, but he still treats his daughter like crazy without caring. Hateful. Only when you express your love by playing the piano will you be given the skills. Woohoo. Come on Dad, you must work hard. Kingsyu's skills depend on you. Sukingsyu waved her fist and cheered Suchanga. Fine. Suchanga was helpless. Take out a gukin from the storage ring. What do you want to hear? Nine Nether song. Nangong Wen replied enthusiastically. A song from the Nine Nether world, making the world desolate? Do you want this world to be destroyed? Suchanga was speechless. Who confesses to talk about Juyokwu? Emperor Juyo's famous stunt, Juyo song, one song can even shake the sky, known as the most powerful score in the world. Why did you let me express my love for you? The emotion that was just brewing disappeared again. Are you annoyed? Then let the phoenix seek the phoenix. Nangong Wen waved her hand to kill the gods, and then took off her mask. Her big eyes were shining with light. Now, only a few people in the world have seen her face. Good. Make a promise in advance, if you don't play well, be careful that I will cheat on you. Nangong Wen smiled. In the blink of an eye, youth blooms in an instant. Okay, is this really okay in front of children? It's his biological child anyway, so what's the point? But, I really don't want to play. Play or not? Bomb. Suchanga felt uncomfortable in his heart. Alas! This female devil. I don't know what kind of style she has. She has to play the piano to express her love before giving her the skills. Isn't this torturing, Sue? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 73. Well. Suchanga sighed. They are already an old couple, but they still show off their affection like this. Feng Kaiuhuang. Suchanga placed the piano on his knees and gently strummed the strings. His eyes narrowed slightly and his mind quickly immersed in. At the same time, Nangong Wen's eyes were full of splendor, and she waved her hand. The entire ancient bronze palace instantly turned into stars and disappeared like a bubble. At the same time, a jade slip fell into Su Kingxiu's hand. Kingxiu, practice the skills in this jade slip carefully. This was created by my mother herself. After Nangong Wen finished speaking, she put on a mask and stared blankly at Suchanga playing the strings. Remember back then, it was this piece of music. Now I can hear it again. Mother! 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 Su Kingxiu called out 3 times, but found that Nangong Wen had been looking at Suchanga. Hum, you have a husband and forget about your daughter. Su Kingxiu sighed. She also wanted to ask if there are any precautions for this technique. But Nangong Wen kept looking at her father and ignored herself. The ancient bronze palace disappeared, and the original place turned into a piece of flat ground. And Qingnian, Yao Guang Holy Sun and others all looked confused. All the major forces were shocked. The ancient bronze palace disappeared. It just disappeared out of thin air. Very good. Senior Su succeeded. With tears in his eyes, Holy Lord Yao Guang bowed deeply in the direction of Suchanga. This is, what happened. The ancient bronze palace disappeared. The Holy Son of Light, the third prince and others were all a little confused. The demonic sound and pressure that had troubled them before suddenly disappeared, and everyone was extremely surprised. Then when they were looking for an opportunity, the ancient bronze palace disappeared in an instant. Some strange. Then the clear sound of the piano sounded, as if it could penetrate everyone's soul. Everyone was stunned. The monks throughout the southern border looked in the direction of the sound of the piano. Clear mind. Followed by passionate love. Countless birds gathered in the shaking light holy land, and all the birds looked at the man in white robes, who looked like an immortal. The phoenix flies and soars, the phoenix is sought from all over the world. But the beauty is here, not on the east wall. Use the qin to express your words, and write your heartfelt chats. The curling sound of the piano was like a psychic, gradually becoming more and more passionate. Anyone could feel the fiery love in the music. Suchanga and Nangong Wen looked at each other. They just looked at each other in a daze. Phew! With a cry, colorful auspicious clouds appeared on the horizon. At the same time, the colorful phoenix floated down from the sky and landed among the birds. In an instant, many birds fainted. The divine phoenix descends from heaven. And Qingnian felt bitter in her heart, looking at the peerless woman wearing a mask. Ashamed. The gap is really huge. Just by looking at it, I feel like I am an earthworm in the soil looking up at the real dragon soaring in the sky. Well. No wonder Brother Su can take the initiative to play the piano, and it is also a passionate song of love. Envious. But even the earthworms in the soil cannot surrender. And Qingnian clenched her fists. She didn't want to give up. But she didn't plan to pester Suchanga anymore. What happened today made her understand a truth. Only if you have enough capital can you be qualified to pursue the person you like. Another chirp. Colorful auspicious clouds appeared on the horizon again, but this time the auspicious clouds were even more vast, even covering the entire southern sky. The fiery red divine phoenix flew across the sky and fell directly to the holy land of shaking light. Then the divine phoenix transformed directly into a noble woman wearing a red dress. This woman is noble and cool, wearing a fiery red dress and a mysterious red mark between her eyebrows. Huangjug. Suchanga. Huangjug originally planned to find a suitable time to sneak down to the lower realm, but there was a heavenly palace handle in the realm, which was very strict, and there was no chance to go down. But suddenly the song Fengkai Huang played, and everyone in the upper realm, the uncivilized birds, suddenly rioted. At the same time, the golden-winged Dapen King, the Peacock Ming King, and the leader of the Divine Phoenix clan, several big guys gathered in the realm to see who was playing Fengkai Huang. If you just play Feng Chiu Huang, it's nothing. Even ordinary people can do it. But this song, it has shaken their Taoist hearts. Huangjug took advantage of the turmoil and descended directly from the realm. It turned out to be Fengkai Huang played for Nangong Wen. Huangjug stood aside quietly, looking at the focused Suchanga. After taking a look at the Changa list, Nangong Wen's points began to skyrocket. Hateful. One step further away from the first place on the list. After a long time, the song ends and everything returns to normal. Just now Suchanga sang Phoenix Seeking Phoenix, and I don't know how many new lives are about to be born in the southern border. Not bad, I'm very satisfied. Nangong Wen smiled. Okay, you are satisfied, then I will take King Xue back to practice. Suchanga was a little lucky. Then he grabbed Su King Xue and rushed to the flying boat. Nangong Wen didn't mention the confession. Marvelous. She forgot. Gotta run away quickly. Wait. Nangong Wen sneered. What about confession? Forget, next time. Just this time. I love you. That's it? Go take care of the kids. Nangong Wen laughed and cursed, and the projection quickly disappeared. At the last second of the disappearance, you could see through the mask that her eyes were full of tenderness. The southern border is shocked. It is widely rumored that Suchanga sang a phoenix begging for phoenix, and the divine phoenix from heaven fell to live in the lower world. At the same time, Senior Su, who was extremely powerful, confessed his love to a woman in black robe. Now, Suchanga is completely famous in the southern border. Everyone from the upper echelons of the Holy Land dynasty to the newly awakened spiritual beasts knew Suchanga's name. The Chu dynasty. The emperor of Chu was sitting on the throne and sighing. Girl, why couldn't I hold it back yesterday? It is estimated that there will be more than a dozen children this time. Mr. Mo was next to Emperor Chu, with the corner of his mouth twitching slightly. He had nothing to say. But there is nothing that can be done about it. Senior Su's Fengkai Huang really has a kind of terrifying magic power. Anyone who hears it will be embarrassed. If two people are in love, they will basically have children. Yesterday, Mr. Mo thought of his first Taoist love. He got drunk and cried. He is almost an old guy, but he can still be moved. With this being the case, we can see the power of Senior Su playing the piano. By the way, Mr. Mo, in 1 year, all babies born in the Chu dynasty can enter the Dynasty Academy for free. Emperor Chu made a decision instantly. Mr. Mo was shocked. It is their blessing to be conceived in the sound of Senior Su's piano. This will be the backbone of our great Chu dynasty in the future. Emperor Chu had a premonition that among the dozen children he created yesterday, there would definitely be a peerless genius. Senior Sue's blessing is not that simple. Good. This is indeed the truth. Mr. Mo nodded. A year later, the population of the Great Chu dynasty will increase dramatically. And the geniuses will spring up like bamboo shoots after a rain. Perhaps by then the Great Chu dynasty will be able to impact the power of Zhongzhou. Not only the Great Chu dynasty, this scene was staged among the major forces in the southern border. Countless Taoist couples gave birth to new lives yesterday. There were also countless sad people drinking spiritual wine alone. Duan Tianya. Suchanga lay on the recliner, with a book on basic alchemy covering his face, and fell asleep soundly. This time I went to the shaking light Holy Land and killed a god. I originally thought this was the most troublesome thing, but I didn't expect that Nangong Wen was the most troublesome thing. So after coming back, Suchanga went to bed directly. Nangong Wen is about to be annoyed to death. And around Suchanga, stood two extremely beautiful women. One is noble and cool, the other is heroic. It was Huang Zhig and Long Yu. Little Phoenix couldn't help but roll down from heaven. Stinky dragon, don't be so arrogant, I've discovered the secret behind your skyrocketing ranking. Long Yu and Huang Zhig are not born to deal with each other. From childhood to now, they have been fighting over everything. Originally it was just a good competition under the control of the Dragon Clan and the Divine Phoenix Clan. But the moment Suchanga appeared, everything changed. The long-standing conflict between the two people completely broke out. No wonder your ranking on the Long Song chart skyrocketed a few days ago. It turns out that's the case. Huang Zhig sneered. Then he turned his head and touched Suchanga's hand with enthusiasm. The speed of changing his face shocked Long Yu. You are not allowed to imitate me. Brother Su is mine. Long Yu was extremely anxious. Looking at Huang Zhig's movements, he stamped his feet angrily, and then ran directly to the other side of Suchanga. He held the mountain and river fan in his right hand to fan himself, and held Suchanga's hand in his left hand. Double points. Suddenly it grew faster than Huang Zhig. You are cheating. Huang Zhig said angrily. She didn't have a mountain and river fan to fan Suchanga with a slight breeze. Damn it. Perhaps because of her personality, she only had the ability to attack and kill the treasure. If she used it on Suchanga, wouldn't it be instantaneous? Can burn. Absolutely not. At that time, your points on the long song list will be deducted. Snort. I will never let you succeed, stinky dragon. Huang Zhig gritted her teeth and directly picked up the book from Suchanga's face. Then she closed her eyes tightly. She wanted to play points. Get out of my way. Bastard Phoenix. I come. Get away from the stinky dragon. The two people were arguing and immediately woke up Suchanga. Suchanj was stunned. When I woke up, I saw two pairs of beautiful eyes looking at me. Suchanga was dumbfounded. He knows that Long Yu has been here for a long time. Who is the other one? Huang Zhig. Holy shit. Suchanga was so confused. Huang Zhig didn't follow him at that time. Instead, he followed the little phoenix to the upper realm. Why did he appear in Duantianya? What happened when he was sleeping? Why is this guy Huang Zhig here too? And Huang Zhig and Long Yu are Chun Chun's mortal enemies. It's over. Duantianya will never have a peaceful life again. Brother Su, do you think the wind from yours fan is comfortable? Or does this bastard phoenix squeeze your hand and feel comfortable? Bastard dragon. What are you saying? Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 74. Well. Suchanga stood up, ignored these two natural enemies, and walked towards the bookstore. Kingxiu and Linger were reading inside. After returning from this trip, Kingxiu didn't know what she was thinking, and she kept soaking in the bookstore. Reading inside. It was really outrageous. But Suchanga was very pleased that her daughter knew that she had worked hard. Suchanga walked into the bookstore, while Long Yu and Huang Jig were still arguing wildly with each other. Xiao Qingxiu, how is your practice going? As soon as Suchanga came in, he saw a strange light shining in Su Qingxiu's hand. This kind of light was exactly the kind of holy light that tortured the gods in the ancient bronze temple, but Su Qingxiu was still relatively immature in using it. Completed so quickly? Was the one your mother gave you a primary spiritual art? Suchanga was a little confused. Although Su Qingxiu has good talent, she can't learn it so quickly. Is Nangong Wen so stingy? He really gave his daughter the elementary spiritual skills. Impossible. It's definitely not a primary spiritual skill. Qingxiu smiled, put away the light in her hand, and then smiled mysteriously at Suchanga. Dad, I discovered something very surprising. It's about motherhood. What? Do you want to hear it? You must think so. I am curious about what else can surprise you besides delicious meat. Su Qingxiu gave Suchanga an angry look. What should I do if she suddenly doesn't want to talk anymore? So infuriating. She was really curious about why Suchanga could always say inappropriate things in inappropriate situations. I suddenly don't want to say anything anymore. Qingxiu, be good Qingxiu, tell daddy, daddy is very curious. Did not say. You always criticize me. Ahem, I couldn't hold it back for a while. A good mood of the day ends with being yelled at by you. Meat for you. This time it's not super spicy, but a brand new flavor called cumin. Real. Su Qingxiu quickly took a sip of saliva. Although her strength has become much stronger, her ability to restrain herself from eating has also become much stronger. But she thought of barbecue, and it's a completely new taste. I can't help it. Then I will eat it for lunch. Okay, okay. Qingxiu, tell dad quickly. Suchanga agreed, and then rubbed Su Qingxiu's little head. Sure enough, barbecue is the only thing you can't live up to. Hum hum. This time's cumin-flavored barbecue will definitely satisfy you, little guy. Okay, Dad, have you read all the books in the library? Su Qingxiu did not tell Suchanga directly, but asked Suchanga a question. Ahem, of course I have seen it all. Otherwise, why do you think being a father is so powerful? Could it be that he came out of it while sleeping? Suchanga coughed twice to cover up his embarrassment. Sorry. Being a father is really just about sleeping. Reading. Practicing. That doesn't exist. Really? Then why did you fall asleep while reading a book just now? You read it wrong. Real? I've seen you fall asleep many times. You read it wrong. Do you want to try a new cumin flavor? Su Emotion clenched her pink little fists. I'm so angry. But cumin barbecue, it tastes delicious just thinking about the name. Forget it, I have a lot of children, so I won't argue with you. Su Qingxiu pinched her waist and snorted arrogantly. Then she dragged Suchanga towards the depths of the bookstore. She walked to a bookshelf inside, and then Su Qingxiu took out a book. The material of the book Chronicles of the Minjiu Dynasty is very special. It is actually made of the skin of the. However, since it is just a book recording history, there are no powerful spiritual restrictions in it, so Su Qingxiu can easily read it. What happened to this book? Minjiu Divine Dynasty. Suchanga frowned and searched for information about the Minjiu Dynasty in his mind. Remember the life-restricted area in the upper world, there is a guy in the Void Mansion who comes from the Minjiu Divine Dynasty. But he beat me up and took away all his wealth, so this book ended up here. Dad, come here and look at the last page of this book. The things recorded on it may have been done by my mother. Su Qingxiu has now accepted the fact that my mother is an 800,000-year-old monster. What? Check it out for your father. In fact, I have read this book before, but I happen to not notice the last page. Tough talk. The mouth is soft. Wait, I shouldn't tell you this. Cough. What's soft? So King Seo was a little confused. Why did the sentence sound weird? But then So King Seo shook her head. The most important thing now is to see if the things in Chronicles of the Minjao dynasty were done by her mother. Don't panic, wait until Dad takes a look. Suchanga slowly opened the Chronicle of the Minjao dynasty, and his face gradually became serious. Especially when he saw the last page, his pupils shrank, and he was extremely shocked. In the 380,000th year of the Minjao dynasty, the magnificent empress of a generation, the ancient emperor, lived in seclusion in the world. It was rumored that she was looking for her sweetheart in the mortal world, which is really ridiculous. Immediately afterwards was a paragraph of mockery of the ancient emperor, which was written eloquently for nearly a page. All kinds of ridicule. It probably means that monks are ruthless, and all the talk about trying to find a sweetheart in the world of mortals is bullshit, and that this great emperor is not worthy of his name. The sarcasm is very accurate, and it is also the kind of sinister sarcasm of a man of letters. Suchanga almost laughed out loud. But then, when Suchanga saw the next sentence, he couldn't hold it back any longer and burst out laughing. After a period of eloquent and eccentric ridicule, there is such a paragraph. The news was leaked that the Minjao divine dynasty was cut in half by the ancient emperor's sword, and the imperial weapon Minjao Tower was torn in half. The Minjao divine dynasty was destroyed in one day. Future generations must remember this revenge. The representative features of the ancient emperor are a bronze mask and a bronze ring. Future generations must remember this grudge. Then the book ends. The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched. Because others talked down to me, and then directly destroyed their entire divine dynasty, and also destroyed their imperial weapon, the Minjao Tower. This is indeed Nangong Wen's behavior. No wonder that old man Minjao refused to give him the Minjao Tower and still hesitated. It turned out that it had been shattered long ago. And I don't want to say it because I'm embarrassed. Bronze mask, bronze ring, just missing a half-smiling smile. Suchanga complained. Nangong Wen's identity has been roughly determined. Although the Minjao divine dynasty was destroyed because of his bad words, destroying the divine dynasty with one sword and tearing apart the emperor's weapon with his body is not a ruthless person. Is it standard? Nangong Wen can be understood as a ruthless person from another world. That's pretty much it. I actually had a child with this kind of woman. Suchanga glanced at Su Kingxiu with a strange expression. I thought it was nothing at first, but now the more I think about it, the more exciting it is. What's going on? Gan. Could it be that he is the true love she is waiting for in the world of mortals? Why? Suchanga, I can't figure out the song. Bronze mask, bronze ring. Definitely mom wrong. Don't you also have couples models? Su Kingxiu was extremely excited. Ahem, it should be your mother. That mom is too strong. Ah. Su Kingxiu was very excited, jumping up and down on the spot. She knew about the Minjao divine dynasty. It was destroyed 800,000 years ago. After that, 15 dynasties gradually formed on the original land of the Minjao divine dynasty, one of which was the Wushuan divine dynasty. She is the former unparalleled empress. Su Kingxiu was originally reincarnated and felt a little proud, but now, she is so proud. Mom is invincible. Mom is so strong. Mom is my idol. Su Kingxiu's face turned red with excitement, and she waved her little hands. Mom is the real idol. It's so hot. Destroy the divine dynasty with one sword, and tear apart the imperial weapon with both hands. When she goes back, she will still act like a hammer conspiracy, forbearance and other strategies, As long as you are strong and tyrannical, just wipe out the enemy country with one sword, and then walk away in style, and that's it. Su Kingxiu's eyes were full of admiration. Only my mother is worthy of the word unparalleled beauty. Oh, I can barely live up to my annoying father. In short, Su Kingxiu has completely regarded Nangong Wen as her lifelong idol. Yes, but your mother is not as strong as your father. Hey, I don't believe it. Real. Then go get my mother back. Ahem, your mother is mysterious, I don't know where she is. Aren't you strong? Cumin. Okay, Dad is the strongest. Su Kingxiu nodded helplessly and gave Suchanga a thumbs up. Then Su Kingxiu suddenly thought, how did her mother fall in love with her father when she is so awesome? And what kind of person was her mother before? By the way, Dad, how is Mom? How about what? Suchanga was a little confused. I always felt that Su Kingxiu was weird. How about emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is very high. No woman is her match. After all, he is an old monster. So on the first day you met, did your mother look good? It looks beautiful. What about strength? Hitting someone hurts. What about clothes? Take it off quickly. Ahem, that makes sense. Su Kingxiu's face quickly turned rosy. Then he stretched out his little hand and hammered Suchanga's body. Why is my father so hateful? So shameful? Say this to others too. But Su Kingxiu thought of her mother's peerless talent. It feels a little exciting. Stop it. Su Kingxiu. They are your parents. Su Kingxiu's face turned red, and at the same time, white smoke floated on her silky black hair. The whole person looks like a cooked prawn. 2. Shame. My mother is a super powerful empress with unparalleled splendor, and she has even reached the level of a supreme immortal now. How could he be chased by his father? Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 75. After all this tossing, Suchanga has basically completely confirmed that Nangong Wen is the template of a ruthless person, waiting for the talent he loves to emerge from the world of games. However, the levels and divisions of combat power in this world are different from those of ruthless people. By the way, Xiao Kingxiu, what technique did Nangong Wen give you? Suchanga was suddenly curious. What Nangong Wen said was the most suitable technique for the chaos body. It wouldn't be the heaven-swallowing demon technique. Don't scare him. It is the holy judgment of all transformations. Su Kingxiu blinked her big eyes and said. Suchanga nodded. The holy judgment of 10,000 transformations. If you remember correctly, what ruthless people practiced in one life was called the holy art of 10,000 transformations. And the strength is very tyrannical. Nangong Wen confirms her identity again. Forget it, practice well, Ling come here. Suchanga rubbed Su Kingxiu's little head, and then let Su Kingxiu go practice alone. Then he called Ling over. Ling looked a little pitiful. Dad, what's wrong? I mean, Ling misses you so much, haha. As soon as Ling came over, she rushed into Suchanga's arms and nuzzled her like a baby. If Suchanga hadn't been more resistant, he would have been so cute to Ling Ling what are your thoughts on practice? Suchanga smiled. She originally planned to slowly teach Ling how to practice in a few years, but just now she saw the envy in Ling eyes. She seemed to envy Su Kingxiu. Then Suchanga thought of Xiao Ling's identity as the Holy Spirit. Ling is the Holy Spirit, which is different from humans. Even if he is just born, he can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth by himself. In other words, Ling is now fully capable of practicing. Moreover, for the Holy Spirit clan, speaking out will lead to the innate state, and reaching adulthood will lead to immortality. They do not need others to open any door to practice for them. Practice? But, Linger didn't know what she was going to learn. Linger blinked her big eyes, which were full of confusion. As for practicing, there are some records from her bloodline in her memory, but she doesn't know what they are. She has always relied on the records in her mind. A practice with vague memories. Don't know what to study. Yes. And Linger is very stupid. I mean, if you learn slowly, Daddy, please don't scold Linger. A trace of sadness flashed across Linger's little face. Master of Versailles. The corner of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. Linger. If you are a fool, then there will be no genius in this world. Although the leader of the Holy Spirit clan said that he will automatically break through to the realm of immortality when he reaches adulthood, but that is the Holy Spirit who does not practice. As long as a clan practices a little bit, their strength will be ridiculously strong. And there are also some people in the Holy Spirit clan who have achieved enlightenment and become emperors, such as the Stone Emperor who was once beaten up in the Immortal Mountain. That is a being of the same level as the Great Emperor. Then let's do this, Linger. My father will ask you, what are you most afraid of, and the direction of your cultivation should be in that direction to make up for it. Suchanga smiled and flicked Linger's silly hair, which instantly made Linger's face a little shy. Maybe the silly hair touches the soul directly? But although he was shy, Linger had already thought about what he was most afraid of. Not even a month after he was born, Linger had seen very few things and couldn't even recognize them all, let alone find something he was afraid of. Suchanga. So Linger couldn't think of it at all. Linger can't think of it. Wait, Dad, I thought of it. Linger thought of it. Linger, who had a gloomy face, instantly became happy, grabbing Suchanga's arm and shaking it. Suchanga also became happy and excited. The Holy Spirit family is born with no flaws, and is in perfect harmony with the heaven and earth. Only the heart has defects. As long as the Holy Spirit clan practice overcomes the defects in the heart, they will be able to attain enlightenment and become a saint. Linger is afraid of pain. Ah! Linger is very afraid of pain. Linger pointed to her little face. It's really unbearable to deal with the pain. Linger is most afraid of pain. Ah, I see, that is indeed an obvious flaw, I'm afraid of pain. Suchanga frowned. I am afraid of pain. How can I make up for this? No matter how far you practice, the feeling of pain will always exist. It is impossible to say that it will not hurt if you become a great emperor and get beaten. Didn't you see that all the supreme beings in the penalty area were howled by his beatings? Even due to the increase in the enemy's realm, the pain the emperor felt when being beaten was much stronger than that of ordinary monks. The pain cannot be eliminated, Linger. Suchanga said to Linger. Immediately afterwards, Linger raised her mouth, feeling a little aggrieved, and her eyes began to fill with tears. Then won't she always have to be a little Linger and always have to be protected by her father and sister? Linger doesn't want that. Don't cry, don't cry. Suchanga panicked. What he hates most is his daughter crying, he simply can't bear it. Especially the little Linger, who used to be so cute, but now when she cries, her face turns pale, and she pretends to be strong, which makes her look even more heart-wrenching. Correct. Linger, although the pain cannot be eliminated, as long as your defense is strong enough, you won't feel the pain at all. Suchanga suddenly said with some surprise. If the enemy's attack can't break your defense at all, then you won't feel pain at all. 1. Who cares about whether it hurts or not? Just add defense points and that's it. Because it's 2 pain is all, point to defense. It seems feasible. Dad. I mean, Linger thinks Dad is really smart. Linger flew into Suchanga's arms with a whoosh, nuzzling and acting coquettishly. Very good. Linger can also practice cultivation. And Linger needs to specialize in the kind of skill that is proficient in defense. From now on, Linger will be the one protecting her parents and sister. Ling Er clenched her little fists and her eyes were very firm. However, the smell of wine and the dull hair on her head made Ling Er look very cute. Soon, Ling Er's smiling eyes turned into crescents. If you want to feel no pain, you must learn the secret of Jizi. Ling Er, do you remember the jade slip you got that day? Suchanga analyzed it for Ling Er. At the same time, he was also thinking about the feasibility of this matter. After all, no one in the world has done this. But his daughter can practice whatever she wants. Just hide the attacking and killing methods in the defensive methods. Ling Er will also learn it unconsciously. Ling Er remembers. Ling Er replied crisply. In that jade slip was the Jizi secret. She wanted to learn it at first, but she couldn't learn it at all. It was too profound. That's good, let's start with the learner's word secret. Suchanga smiled. He didn't know what the real defensive techniques were. He wasn't even sure whether there were any in this bookstore. After all, strong people who specialize in defense are rare. Dear Ling Er, after you learn the secret of Jizi, your father will help you find a book of exercises. Then you will no longer be afraid of pain. Suchanga touched Xiao Ling Er. Then Xiao Ling Er flew away with satisfaction, while drinking the spirit wine. Haha, if you kill all the enemies before they take action, is it considered an invincible defense? Su Changa suddenly had a flash of inspiration, and then laughed out loud. Su Kingxiu's mouth twitched at the side. Linger. My good sister, you will probably suffer a lot from having such an old man on your side. My sister was very able to endure hardships from the beginning. But although Suchanga is usually a bit unreliable, he is still very reliable when it comes to spiritual practice. Forget it, let's look for defensive skills first, and go to that black turtle in a few days. Suchanga thought in his mind. That black turtle is rumored to be used by the ancient heavenly palace to hold up the sky. He has an extremely long lifespan and extremely strong defense. Several Forbidden Area Supremes once wanted to join forces to cut off his noble head, but they just resisted. Nothing happened at all, and he even ate a supreme meal. However, he was beaten up by Suchanga later, so Suangi didn't feel too confident. The scenery is beautiful in February. Suchanga hummed as he walked out of the bookstore, intending to take a rest on his recliner. In order to sleep more peacefully, he specially built this bench and added a lot of patterns in it, which can calm the mind and calm the mind. In fact, Suchanga didn't understand the formations either. These formation patterns were all taken from other Supreme Imperial soldiers. Then they were forcibly fused together. Unexpectedly, the effect is good. Stinky Dragon. Stinky Phoenix. Hearing these two voices, the corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. How come it's been so long and these two are still fighting each other? Walking over and taking a look, Long Yu and Huangjug were face to face, angrily scolding each other. Stinky Dragon. Stinky Phoenix. Suchanga is stupid. Why do these two people only have these two sentences to complain about? After all, they only have Stinky XX. It's really too much, so civilized. If we were placed in the era of the previous life where the mother was the center of the circle and the 18 generations of ancestors were the axis, these two people would probably be scolded and die of vomiting blood. Brother Su, you are back. Brother Su. Huangjug and Long Yu were both surprised, and then they glared at each other. I went to cook. The idiot who ranks third on the long song list. Long Yu glared at Huangjug, and then quickly entered the kitchen. Snored. Cheating villain. Huangjug was a little disdainful. Then he looked at Suchanga. The wedding of Shen Huang was celebrated by heaven and earth, but the male protagonist ran away. Have you heard this story? Brother Su. Huangjug's eyes were a bit resentful. Ahem, maybe you've heard of it? The male protagonist is such a weirdo. Yes, especially when he used the excuse of slaying demons he ended up having a child with the demon. It's not a thing. Suchanga said nonchalantly, then he lay on the recliner, crossed his legs, and read a book of basic alchemy leisurely. Huh, but the heroine of the story has already forgiven the hero. Huangjug opened her beautiful eyes slightly and said nervously. Then she waited excitedly for Suchanga's reply. But after waiting for a while, no response. Then Huangjug turned around and saw that Suchanga was asleep. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong Wrong. Chapter 76. Actually fell asleep. Huangjug was extremely angry. But then he thought about it, wouldn't Suchanga be able to earn a lot of points by doing this? It just so happened that the smelly dragon went to cook. With this in mind, Huangjug immediately started to take action. He stretched out his hand to plunder Suchanga's body wildly, and his points increased rapidly. Huh, I told you to run away from your marriage back then, this is your punishment. Huangjug snorted coldly. Back then, she and Suchanga basically did everything except the last step. But this guy escaped from the marriage in the end, which made the Divine Phoenix clan disgraced. Fortunately, the elders of the Divine Phoenix clan knew that how strong is Changa? Otherwise, he would have been defeated long ago. Points plus 10. Points plus 10. A smile appeared on Huangjug's lips. This is so cool. Soon, her points were growing like a rocket, and she was almost catching up with the second-placed Long Yu. But at this moment, a voice like a silver bell sounded. Dad, where's the cumin barbecue you promised? Hearing this, Huangjug quickly retracted his moving jade hand. Wei Wei looked serious and pretended like he had never done anything. But in fact, I was extremely nervous inside, for fear of being discovered. Dad? Why did you fall asleep? Su Kingxiu was a little confused. Dad had only been out for a short time before he fell asleep directly. It's outrageous. What he told me about Baolan books was just nonsense. I guess he fell asleep after reading the book for a while after he came out. Brother Su, he might be very tired. After coming out of the bookstore, he lay down and fell asleep. Huangjug explained. The corners of Su Kingxiu's mouth twitched slightly. It's her, Meng Lang. Co-author Suchanga fell asleep directly before reading the book. She thinks too much. What to have for lunch? Who is cooking? Su Kingxiu was a little confused. Then she looked at the yard. Huangjug was licking his father, but he had stopped now. He was foaming at the mouth under a jujube tree, and Linger was staying in the bookcase. That is to say, is Long Yu the one cooking? Not good. Su Kingxiu's eyes flashed with despair. She clearly remembered how poisonous the food Long Yu cooked last time was. Good guy, the entire Duan Tianya was filled with poisonous gas. Boom. Just when Su Kingxiu was worried, there was a loud noise in the kitchen. Then bursts of black smoke spread out from the kitchen. Long Yu ran out with a pot, his face was blackened, and at the same time the dark things inside were emitting a strong stench, which made Su Kingxiu feel bad. If you don't know how to cook, don't cook. Su Kingxiu took a breath of cold air and almost spit it out. The air had begun to become filthy. What the hell did Long Yu do? Waste dragon. Get out of here and let me come. Huangjug's eyes flashed with disdain, and then he directly took action and snatched the pot away. Then a mysterious flame appeared in his hand and quickly roasted it. Soon, the whole pot turned into water and merged with the dark food. Ah! Stinky Phoenix, return my delicious food. That's not delicious food at all. That's not something you can do. You rude Phoenix. Give me back my pot. Give me back my food. Long Yu and Huang Zhig soon began to yell at each other. The entire Duan Tianya was half cloudy and rainy, half divine fire. What are you doing? Suchanga woke up leisurely and asked about the strong stench in the air, almost spitting out. He waved his hand and spread out a stream of spiritual energy, quickly purifying Duan Tianya, and then sealed the black substance. At the same time, the visions all over the sky disappeared instantly. After a moment, Suchanga sat on the recliner. Long Yu and Huang Zhig stood obediently in front of Suchanga, while Xiao Qingxiu held Linger and ate melon with Shi Dao to watch. If you stay here, don't cause trouble for me, Suchanga said sternly. Damn it! If he hadn't woken up early, Duan Tianya would have been destroyed by these two guys. It's okay, it's okay. Fortunately, he was woken up by the strong stench. Yes. Yes. Long Yu and Huang Zhig lowered their heads, like two children who had done something wrong. They were both afraid that Suchanga would drive them away. Brother Su. As long as you don't drive us away, you can do anything. Right, right. Long Yu and Huang Zhig nodded wildly, like chickens pecking at rice. Humph, now at this time, you still want to take advantage of me. Suchanga snorted coldly. From now on, Long Yu is strictly prohibited from entering the kitchen, and at the same time, both of you are prohibited from using force on Duan Tianya. Good. Long Yu and Huang Zhig nodded. It's true that they couldn't hold it back. If Suchanga hadn't woken up and they fired the real fire, the entire southern realm might have disappeared. The lower realm is very fragile, unlike the vast upper realm. The upper world is really big. Even the two top forces may have never heard of each other. Only the legendary figures above the great emperor can visit every corner of the upper world. Otherwise, don't even think about it. Think. Brother Su, Long you can't enter the kitchen, so I can cook for Brother Su. Huang Zhig said excitedly. Cooking for Brother Su, the points rewarded by the Chang'e list are very generous. Can't. Why? You even turned a pot into water, and you still cook. I estimate it will be more poisonous than Long Yu. The corners of Huang Zhig's mouth twitched. All right. It's true that she can't cook, but she can make elixirs. Isn't cooking just like making elixirs? It's all food anyway. As a goddess of the divine phoenix clan, Huang Zhig was born with the accompanying divine fire. The high temperature was extremely terrifying. Many precious medicines that others could not condense could be easily refined in her hands. So Huang Zhig is very confident in cooking by herself. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's absolutely not possible. From now on, only I can enter the kitchen. This will be a forbidden area in Duan Tianya. Suchanga said seriously. He knew it. Nothing good would happen to these two idiots when they met together. It was only the first day, and they almost started working together, causing the whole Duan Tianya to be in chaos. If you don't educate them well, after a while, I guess I won't worry about it in the future. Suddenly, the spiritual jade worn on Huang Zhig's waist lit up. Then Huang Zhig's expression changed. It's the ancestor. Suchanga waved his hand when he heard this, and set up a barrier for Huang Zhig. Everything about her within the barrier could not be seen by others. Thank you, Brother Su. Suchanga nodded indifferently. The ancestor of the divine phoenix clan suddenly contacted Huang Zhig. There must be something important. Rumor has it that the ancestor of the divine phoenix clan, the immortal phoenix, has a magic sword that dominates the world, and the emperor in his hand there were countless corpses and bones, and the supreme strongman was killed one after another. He single-handedly led the divine phoenix clan to the pinnacle of the upper world. It's a bit similar to that one, but their personalities and temperaments are completely different. Suchanga became more and more suspicious. In this world, many people are similar to Jejishan. Nangong Wen, the ancestor of the immortal phoenix, are the two most real examples, and there are many others. Maybe he haven't found it yet. But it doesn't matter, he is invincible anyway. Soon, the barrier dispersed. Everyone looked at Huang Zhuge. Ahem, it is a very important matter, but you can definitely tell Brother Su. Huang Zhuge smiled and gave Suchanga a wink. Don't tempt me. Why did the ancestor contact you? If you want to go back, then go back quickly. Suchanga was a little excited, but his face looked like he was thinking about you. It would be best for the ancestor of the dragon clan to contact Long Yu and get him back. That way he would be clean. After all, he was the one who was there back then. I'm sorry for Long Yu and Huang Zhuge, so he can't just drive them away. Brother Su, don't worry, my ancestor didn't ask me to go back. Brother Su is so kind to me. Huang Zhuge smiled sweetly, which was in sharp contrast with her noble and cold temperament. Then she raised her eyebrows provocatively at Long Yu. Bastard Phoenix. Long Yu gritted his teeth and resisted the urge to beat up Huang Zhuge. He snorted coldly and stood aside. Brother Su, it's like this. The heavenly palace in the upper realm has revived, and the ancestors of many powerful forces have gathered together to launch a plan. Huang Zhuge said quietly. Suchanga listened quietly. Others were also very curious. After all, this is a matter between the most powerful people in the upper world, and everyone's heart was full of gossip. Burned up. The upper world has built something called the spiritual network, and it has also created a spiritual weapon called the spiritual machine, very mysterious. Huang Zhuge hesitated. For her, this kind of thing is simply unheard of. But this is a decision made between the big figures in the upper world, and the spiritual network has been successfully constructed. Nowadays, monks in the upper world basically have an idea at their disposal. And it was completed in the few days she was in the lower world. Damn it! Suchanga's eyes lit up. Spirit net, spirit machine, this meow doesn't want to get a smartphone. Is there a time traveler in this world? Legend has it that a newcomer in Tiangong created it. Many emperors were very satisfied with him. Even the mysterious lord of Tiangong was very happy and rewarded him with an elixir of immortality. When Suchanga heard this, he was basically convinced that this newcomer is definitely a time traveler. Tiangong is the most powerful force in the upper world, and the lord of Tiangong is also a mysterious and unpredictable existence. No one has ever seen the lord of Tiangong. The true appearance of the upper realm is vast, and it is estimated that only the heavenly palace can build a spiritual network. Moreover, my ancestor also gave me this thing, saying that it would make it easier to contact the clan members and many fellow Taoists. Anyway, I didn't want to see it. Huang Zhuge curled his lips, and then threw out a piece of inspiration the size of a palm. Don't you see it? I'm not sick. Then let me see. Ahem, you're not sick either, Brother Su. Suchanga's forehead flashed with black lines, but he still picked up the idea. He was very curious about this thing. Girl. In the fantasy world, something similar to a smartphone appears. Who is not curious? As soon as I opened Huang Zhuge's inspiration, I found messages being sent one after another. The avatar looks like a handsome guy, with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes, and special effects behind his back, and his name is the Holy Son of the Holy Land of Taizhou. Huang Zhuge, why don't you promise me? I really like you. Good morning, Zhuge. Good night. Good morning. The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. Then with a thought, he connected to the spiritual world and replied to the Holy Son of Taizhou. She fell asleep. Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 77. She fell asleep. With a simple sentence, the Holy Son of Taizhou broke through his defense. Suchanga smiled slightly and then ignored it. Then Suchanga began to study this idea. This thing is really similar to the smartphone in the previous life. Connected by a spiritual network signal covering the entire upper world, and all monks in the upper world can communicate with each other. On the spiritual machine, there are different forum categories, which are similar to those in the previous life. A programmer probably traveled through time and made this kind of app, otherwise I would never remember it so clearly. The corner of Suchanga's mouth twitched. Programmer. 90% of time travelers are in this profession, no reason, just because I always work overtime. The upper realm, also known as the heaven, is divided into 33 realms. Each heaven realm is hundreds of millions of times larger than the lower realm. It's like the boundless universe of the previous life was put into one world. Suchanga looked at the map on the spiritual machine and was a little shocked. Who on earth could get such a map? It's outrageous. Suchanga felt that it would take a long time to get such a large area by himself. And only those at the level of the Great Emperor can fully explore this vast heaven. Under the Great Emperor, you can't even think of touching the boundaries of the heaven. Wait, Nangong Wen said that she has been busy with things. Isn't he too busy building a spiritual network? An idea flashed in Suchanga's mind, and then he quickly shook his head. It's impossible. Nangong Wen would not do such a thing. Does Brother Su like it? If you like it, I will give this inspiration to you. Huangjug smiled seductively. She felt that Suchanga was very interested in this new inspiration. How many points would you get if you gave a spiritual inspiration to Brother Su? Ah, you really don't need it? Suchanga asked rhetorically. Through the forum section on Lingji, you can learn a lot of information about the major forces in the heaven. Huangjug definitely needs it. I have hundreds of these in my house. Huangjug waved his hand. That's true. The ancestor thought it was novel and fun, so he gave 100 to each person in the clan. As a goddess, she gave 300 to 400 directly. She didn't know what the ancestor was thinking. The cost shouldn't be high. Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. Then just accept it? Points plus 1 W. Yeah. Huangjug felt the changes on the Changa list and couldn't help but laugh. And Long Yu had a face full of displeasure. Damn it. Now the second place on the Changa list is Huangjug. Damn it. Then the jade on Long Yu's waist lit up, and Long Yu's face lit up. He was the ancestor of the dragon clan. After a while, Suchanga fell into silence holding hundreds of ideas. Angry and momentarily embarrassed. Yeah. Back to second place. Long Yu happily sat on the stool and kept watching the Changa ranking. Her points have reached several million. It turns out that there is a bug in the Changa ranking. Now Long Yu is only 10 meters away from the number 1 Nangong demon. Millions of points. Brother Su, these are the inspirations I gave you that have not been locked to the Qi machine, so if you can directly authenticate your identity. Long Yu smiled slightly and glanced at Huangjug very proudly. Not only were there many inspirations she gave, but they were all brand new from the factory. Look at yours, they have been bound to their identities and given to Brother Su. Ahem, then one for each person, one for each person. Suchanga reluctantly stuffed all the hundreds of inspirations into storage rings, and then gave one to each of Su Kingxiu and the others. Then he gave one to Shideo. The signal is a bit poor, by the way, let's construct the spiritual network of the lower world together. Suchanga turned on his spiritual machine and found that he could no longer connect to the spiritual network in the upper world. Then he waved his hand, and a terrifying spiritual energy output turned into an overwhelming net, linking it with the spiritual network in the upper world. The upper and lower realms are tightly wrapped. Why do you feel that the spiritual power of building a spiritual network is a bit special? It couldn't really be Nangong Wen who did it? Suchanga was confused. This special thing is Nangong Wen's spiritual power. Damn it! It was really her who did it? Nangong Wen, the devil, is actually the lord of heavenly palace. Shocked for a whole year. Heaven. Above the vast heaven, there is a heavenly palace that towers over all forces. The pavilions and pavilions, the vast sky, the immortal aura floating in the sky, the magnificent hall exudes an endless aura of majesty. In the main hall, a woman wearing a bronze mask sat at the top of the table. Although she was only wearing a black robe, she actually exuded endless imperial power. There are only 4 words to describe it: she is unrivaled. Nangong Wen suddenly let out a cry, and her body instantly became soft. This little rascal actually built a new spiritual network and merged with my spiritual network. Nangong Wen's pretty face under the mask was extremely rosy. The fusion of spiritual power actually has another name. In short, it is another method, but it will not create living beings. But now this method has been abandoned for a long time. Only the old people hundreds of thousands of years ago knew this method. Fortunately no one, this little bastard, also registered his inspiration, which was pretty quick. Nangong Wen looked around, a little panicked. Fortunately, all the ministers in the Tiangong Palace were driven out by her to distribute spiritual ideas. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing. Suchanga, a bastard, actually accidentally built a spiritual plan with her. Internet. Register for inspiration. I asked you to register for inspiration, hum. A bad smile flashed across Nangong Wen's face. Then she added Suchanga's forum friend. Then he used his authority to directly change Suchanga's remarks to the ancestor of 10,000 Daos. Hey hey. Let people follow you wherever you go. Hum. At this time, an equally beautiful woman walked into the hall, dressed in palace clothes. It was the time traveler, Yu Mingkong. He was once a computer genius, but he was granted Zen status in Mount Tai, encountered the 9 dragons pulling a coffin, and managed to reach the fantasy world alive. He was spotted by Nangong Wen, who then appointed her as an official in the Tiangong Palace. His Majesty. After hearing this, the smile on Nangong Wen's face disappeared instantly. It was simply through the mask, so Yu Mingkong did not see anything strange about Nangong Wen. Otherwise, she could see that although Nangong Wen had a cold face, her face was extremely rosy. What's wrong? Nangong Wen asked coldly. Your Majesty, I also have an idea. If a data stream is developed, it will be more convenient to detect the cultivation strength of monks. For example, it is stipulated that the full force attack of an innate monk is 1. Then, after a lot of effort, Yu Mingkong explained clearly to Nangong Wen what this combat power data mechanism is. Yes, this is indeed more intuitive, but the peak combat power of a monk cannot be revealed, otherwise the world will be in chaos. Nangong Wen nodded. Then she made a suggestion. If each monk's peak combat power value was marked, wouldn't those higher than him be able to kill with confidence? Yes, Your Majesty is wise. Yu Mingkong bowed slightly. Then develop a kind of data glasses, similar to the pupil technique, which can see the damage value of each move. Everyone can see the damage value of the attack. Yu Mingkong's eyes flickered. She was very interested in this kind of data flow. So I wanted to give it a try, and first came up with an idea about Lingwang Lingji. Yes, by the way, the spiritual network has been built. You can activate all the permissions of the spiritual machine. Nangong Wen said this. Have all the spiritual networks been constructed? Yu Mingkong was shocked. She had seen the map and had even given up on the idea of a spiritual network. She was planning to start with one sky domain and slowly expand it. But I didn't expect that this magnificent lord of the heavenly palace would directly complete the construction of the spiritual network. Hiss! What a terrifying spiritual power this is! The vastness of heaven is beyond Yu Mingkong's imagination, and a terrifying giant network is built with spiritual power on the vast world of heaven. This is simply not something that can be accomplished by one person. But the truth tells her, Nangong Wen really did it. So fierce. Good. Then I will activate the spiritual network permissions for all spiritual machines. However, it is necessary to use Xiantian Jade Disk to detect the secret. Yu Mingkong was extremely excited. He was originally a computer genius in his previous life, but he was useless as a hero. Unexpectedly, he had his own use in this fantasy world. After traveling a few years ago, he flew under the appreciation of Nangong Wen soaring. Go ahead. Nangong Wen waved her hand and watched Yu Mingkong leave. Then she collapsed directly on the throne. Her face was red, like a cooked prawn. Suchanga, you bastard! Why are you still working on the spiritual network? Nangong Wen exhaled hot white air from her mouth, causing a burst of fragrant wind. She felt helpless in her heart. This little bastard. Duantianya. It's really interesting, hee, the spiritual net can move on its own. Suchanga laughed. He just roughly built a network with spiritual power. The specific details had to be copied from Nangong Wen's. Then he conducted an in-depth analysis of Nangong Wen's spiritual network. The result is pretty cool. Happy spirit. Don't know why. Alright. You can connect to the spirit network. Suchanga took back his spiritual power, and all the spiritual machines in the lower world have been connected to the spiritual network. Hearing this, Ling Kingxiu and others were curious to open the spiritual machines, even Shideo was no exception. Hey, why is my forum ID so abnormal? Suchanga turned on his idea and found that his nickname was actually the ancestor of 10,000 Daos. What happened? He wanted to change it, but he couldn't change it at all. Wow, how did this genius know Linger's name? Linger was a little surprised. This spiritual machine actually has her name on it. The immortal artifact Xiantian Jade Disk, coupled with Nangong Wen's great power, the fate of everyone is contained in it. Except for Suchanga, everyone else's information is its true. But Suchanga's ID was modified by Nangong Wen personally. No wonder, the inspiration turned out to be a conspiracy. The Lord of Heavenly Palace is so ambitious. Huangjug sighed. How? Stinky Phoenix, I think this idea is quite fun. Longyu was confused. Spiritual machines are all over the heaven, and every living being is given a spiritual machine, but at the same time, their fate can no longer escape the control of the heavenly palace. Huangjug looked bitter. Longyu was shocked after hearing this. After looking at her inspiration, she did not reveal any information about herself, but her name has become Longyu. It's scary. Look at Linger and others, it's all the same. Brother Su, has your name automatically changed to your real name? Hearing this, everyone looked curiously at Suchanga's idea. Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 78. No, what became my real name? I'm still wondering why my nickname can't be changed. Suchanga was a little confused. In Lingji's personal information, the name of the Super Chuyunibu, the ancestor of all ways, cannot be changed at all. If he forcibly changes it, Lingji will explode directly. The nickname cannot be changed, but you can change the previous sect origin and so on. Huangjug explained to Suchanga. This time, Tiangong has completely ruled the heaven. No force can resist Tiangong. This method of the Lord of Tiangong is really terrifying. Ouch, it can be changed. Suchanga controlled the inspiration, and then found the option of being born in the sect realm, and started to change it. Duan Tianya, Suchanga, the change was successful. Your nickname has been changed to Duan Tianya, the ancestor of 10,000 ways. Damn it! Suchanga couldn't help but curse. Is this idea aimed at him? Oops, Brother Su, show us quickly. Yes. Brother Su is so strong, it should be impossible for Tiangong to detect Brother Su's strength. Soon, several pairs of eyes came closer and saw the personal interface in Suchanga's spiritual machine. The ancestor of all ways. Huangjug was dumbfounded. Long Yu was dumbfounded as well. Su Qingxiu was even more stunned. Her pink and tender mouth opened in an O shape, which was very shocking. The ancestor of 10,000 ways. This is the Xiantian Jade Disc test. Did you come out? Brother Su is so powerful. Brother Su, it turns out that you have been hiding your strength all this time. When you saved me last time, you could obviously kill the Supreme One with one move, but you left him alone. Brother Su, you have been pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger. Long Yu said excitedly. It turns out that Brother Su hadn't used all his strength to save himself from the ancient Supreme last time. The ancestor of all ways. He probably can easily control the entire upper world. Stars appeared in Long Yu's eyes, and he turned into a human again. Suchanga's little fangirl. The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. He has no habit of pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger. As you grow, you become stronger. I was relatively young at the time, so my strength was a bit weak. But pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger, only fools would pretend to be a pig and eat the tiger. Real men can be killed instantly with one sword. Brother Su, you are so powerful, can you figure out who the Lord of the Heavenly Palace is? This kind of person is very ambitious and probably wants to completely rule the heaven. Although Huangjug was shocked by Suchanga's strength, he was still more worried about the situation in heaven. This kind of clever idea can directly lock everyone's information, which is very likely to cause major forces to besiege Tiangong. It's hard to say what will happen in the upper realm by then. After all, they are all ancestral figures, who would be willing to have a heavenly palace above them all the time. This clever incident will probably become the trigger for the war. Lord of the Heavenly Palace. Suchanga's facial expression was a little subtle. The Lord of the Heavenly Palace is the number one on the list that you have always been thinking about. But since Nangong Wen always wore a mask when she was the Lord of the Heavenly Palace, she probably doesn't want her true identity to be known to others. It's better not to say anything yourself. Otherwise, it would be bad if these little guys who were attacked committed suicide. I do know who the Lord of the Heavenly Palace is, but I can't tell you. The secret must not be leaked. It can only be said that it is far away and close in front of you. Suchanga smiled mysteriously. Let them find out that Nangong Wen is the Lord of the Heavenly Palace. Then they started to play with their spiritual ideas. The spiritual network had just been completely opened, and all the creatures in the heavens were posting messages. All of a sudden there are so many posts. But they are all practitioners, so the posts are very fast. Far away, close at hand. Could it be Brother Su? Suchanga waved his hands repeatedly. It took me a long time to explain that it was not me. Then he started lying on the recliner and playing tricks. I have been in the fantasy world for more than 20 years, and this is the first time I have seen something like a smartphone, so I am very interested. He may feel sleepy when reading, but when it comes to playing with his mobile phone, he doesn't feel sleepy anymore. Guide to Using the Spiritual Machine, issued by Yin Taixu, the Holy Son of Taixu, reproduced from the official announcement of Tiangong. Suchanga suddenly became interested. Who is this Holy Son of Taixu, isn't he Huangjug's licking dog? Yes. Suchanga quickly clicked in. He quickly browsed the main content of the post. After finishing it, I found that this post is actually mainly about explaining the use of the spirit machine and introducing what the forum is. It is specially explained to the natives of the fantasy world. Suchanga had countless posts back then, so naturally he didn't need to read this. Then he looked at the following reply and leave a message. It turned out to be the Holy Son of Taixu, whom I have admired for a long time. Son of the sun. Long time admiration. This is the only post that the Holy Son of Tegzu has replied to. The other messages are almost full of admiration and reverence. After all, the Holy Son of a great holy land is the goal of countless monks. Suchanga thought it was quite funny, so he casually read from below reply to post. Experience +3, farewell. Damn it. The ancestor of all ways. Damn it. Damn it. In an instant, the post received tens of thousands of replies. Suchanga was shocked. After thinking about it, this is normal. There are countless monks in the heaven, and the spiritual network has just been opened. It is estimated that everyone is using the spiritual machine. Suchanga then stopped bubbling. His nickname will cause panic wherever he goes. What to have for dinner? Suchanga stretched out. Just when he was about to put away his ideas and go cook, he found that someone had added him as a friend. His nickname was Nangong Win. The problem with this female devil's nickname is definitely this. The devil did it. Little bastard, who asked you to build a spiritual network in the lower world? The spiritual machine is very mysterious. Although we are chatting, you can hear the other party's voice. If you input, just touch the spiritual machine with your spiritual consciousness, and the thoughts will be automatically transmitted through the spiritual network. Nangong Win's voice sounds a little shy and out of breath. Like after a big war. And it's a one-person battlefield. What's wrong with you? You are the Lord of Heavenly Palace, why didn't you tell me? I won't tell you. You didn't tell me your strength back then, and you still haven't told me now. I really don't know what state I am in. Then don't even think about marrying me. Sorry, I really don't want to. You asshole. Nangong Win was so angry that she wanted to throw away her spiritual machine. This little bastard. He secretly used the spiritual net to analyze her and made her feel very uncomfortable. Now he is angry with himself. Damn it. I really don't know what state I am in. Suchanga told the truth. He can become stronger while sleeping. Now he is extremely strong. He really doesn't know what state he is in. He really didn't lie to Nangong Win. I really didn't know that I was the Lord of Heavenly Palace. Nangong Win replied. Suchanga was helpless. But then, Nangong Win's next words made Suchanga even more helpless. By the way, a supreme from the Sea of Chaos recently escaped to the lower realm. Can you please help clean it up? Everyone in Suchanga was dumbfounded. Are you a tool person? Suchanga glanced at Sukingseo. Fortunately, she was his biological child, otherwise he would have thought that he was a tool. Why did Supreme Qinghai in the Sea of Chaos escape to the lower realm? Because he can't beat me, why else? The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched. Why can you say such meaningless words with such confidence? He must have been beaten by you and escaped to the lower realm, but why was he beaten by you? What did he do? Lingji exposed his real name, so he got angry and wanted to destroy Tiangong, but I beat him up. So your real name is so important. Qinghai Supreme, formerly known as Wang Ergu. Good guy. Suchanga finally understood. No wonder Qinghai Supreme is angry. This name is probably not used when someone becomes famous, but Nangong Win doesn't know what means she used to know the fate of a supreme being. Somewhat awesome. Suchanga couldn't help but feel excited when he thought that his wife was so powerful. Just catch him back. I'm busy maintaining the Xiantian Jade disc and don't have time to go down to the next world. Okay, but should you give me some compensation? What reward? Call your husband. You are bad. Nangong Win's face suddenly turned red. Then she quickly replied. Wait until you catch him. Fine. Suchanga curled his lips. My daughter always likes to use this trick. Drag the word trick. It doesn't matter anyway. Then Suchanga saw another idea. He found that this thing is more convenient than a smartphone in the fantasy world. More. His reply experience is increased by 3, and there are already hundreds of millions of replies. It has only been a few minutes. All the monks are admiring. It was passed down to 10, and passed on to hundreds. Everyone knew that the ancestor of all the ways was actually playing tricks. The ancestor of 10,000 Daos has already played, so what do they have to worry about? Suddenly, many Holy Land forces who resisted Tiangong were directly sprayed. The situation turned around instantly. Suchanga smiled slightly and continued to browse the post, not knowing that his reply helped Tiangong solve a big problem. Tiangong. Yu Mingkong is looking at a huge piece of spiritual jade. On the spiritual jade is extremely complex information. Others traveled through time and became stronger in order to survive, while Yu Mingkong became stronger in order to be able to work better for Nangong Win. All kinds of information have the meaning of riot. It seems that this action is too sudden. Yu Mingkong sighed slightly. He directly controlled the lifeblood of all the big forces in the heaven without saying a word. It is estimated that only a woman as magnificent as the Lord of the Heavenly Palace can do this. When she first said that she was thinking about a spiritual agency, many Tiangong officials wanted to kill her, but Nangong Wen thought of such a grand plan in an instant. Now, the plan worked. All that's left is to suppress those forces that want to resist. Yu Mingkong is here to observe every statement and collect information about the resistance forces. Wait, why is there suddenly so little information about resistance? Instead, they all said a word. The ancestors of all ways are using the spiritual machine, why can't we use it? Yu Mingkong was stunned. Who is the ancestor of all ways? Listening to this name, it sounds awesome. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 79. Then Yu Mingkong opened the post and saw the famous quote posted by her previous life. The ancestor of 10,000 Daos experience +3, farewell. Yu Mingkong was dumbfounded. The ancestor of all ways, turns out to be a time traveler. Or is he a strong man who can navigate different worlds? Yu Mingkong quickly looked away. My heart is extremely shocked. But it just so happened that Tiangong no longer had to resist those rebellious forces. Yu Mingkong smiled slightly. The rebel forces are basically the leaders of the rebel forces. Because the person who can become the holy lord of a party is basically the boss in his own large area. The one who can prove the Tao and become the emperor, even more is it possible to directly establish a sect. No one wants to have a sharp sword above their head. Especially after Wang Ergo's name was leaked, all the emperors and supremes panicked. Because this means that Tiangong can easily see through all their secrets. We can't fight for the moment. Yu Mingkong sighed. At the same time, he was extremely confused about this ancestor of all ways. She wanted to know if this was a time traveler. However, this kind of character is really far away from me, so I should just assist Nangong Wen honestly. Her dream is to become an unparalleled and gorgeous woman like Nangong Wen. Duan Tianya. Suchanga suddenly had a lot of ideas in his hand. Nangong Wen directly built a space portal to send these, and then asked him to distribute them to the creatures in the lower world. Alas, I am drunk too. Suchanga looked at the countless spiritual ideas in the storage ring and was really helpless. Although the lower world is much smaller than the upper world, there are countless creatures. If you have to send them one by one, don't be tired. Die. Oh, yes, ahem, Long Yu, Huang Jug, don't you think you're a little bored in Duan Tianya? Suchanga smiled slightly. Why don't we just arrange for these two coolies to go there? This plan is perfect. Not only can we distribute the inspiration, but we can also arrange for these two sworn enemies to go away, so that he can be clean in a few days. Days. Suchanga really wants to live a pure life for a few days. Stinky dragon. Dead phoenix. Well. Suchanga sighed. After a moment, Huangjug and Longyu glared at each other, and then looked at Suchanga. Brother Su, you're not bored. Isn't this interesting? Yes, yes, Stinky Dragon is right, it's not boring at all. The two girls are very vigilant. They are afraid that Suchanga will drive them away under any pretext. They finally got here. After all, the upper world does not allow monks to go down to the lower world casually. Ahem. I need your help with something. I'm not trying to drive you away. Suchanga smiled, then took out some inspirations from the storage ring and placed them on the ground. Hiss, Brother Su, why do you have so many ideas? Longyu was shocked. So many ideas. Yes, I know the Lord of Heavenly Palace, so he asked me to help distribute these spiritual ideas to the creatures in the lower world, so I want to invite you. I'll go, I'll go. You is going. Before Suchanga finished speaking, Longyu raised his hand excitedly. She's going. These ideas are all points. There are rules in the Chang'e ranking, and you will also get points for helping Brother Su do things. It's a reward. If so many points were all mine, wouldn't it mean that she would immediately catch up with Nangongwen, who is number 1 on the list? Huangjug was a little confused. Why do I feel like this smelly dragon is up to something? Wait, this is to help Brother Su, that's why Longyu takes such initiative. Otherwise, this dragon would never leave Suchanga's side. I also need to go. I am more able to endure hardships, so let me distribute 3/4 of the inspiration. Huangjug stretched out his hand, very enthusiastically. No. It's all mine. Just ask for it. Unacceptable. What do you want? Stinky dragon, everyone who sees it has a share. You. That's 3/4 of me too. Bastard phoenix. 50/50ths? How? Okay. Longyu and Fengjug bargained for a while, and then settled the matter directly. Then, Brother Su, show us all your ideas. The corner of Suchanga's mouth twitched. There is only one of him. Why do you say it's so scary? Say X without X. Civilize you and me. Suchanga's sincere teachings. Abnormal. Brother Su, how good are you? You are likes it so much. Huangjug's face turned red and he spat. Longyu, on the other hand, was a little shy. One dragon and one phoenix have completely different personalities. Here you go, let's start with the southern realm and slowly expand to the entire lower realm. Suchanga took out 2 storage rings and threw them to the 2 of them. Each storage ring contained inspiration. Yes. Guaranteed to complete the task. Longyu and Huangjug couldn't wait. These are points. Points. Even if they can't finish first on the list, it's enough to secure their top 3 positions. Soon, the 2 of them were carrying a storage ring left. Stinky dragon, what if others don't want it? Don't just try to persuade them, tell them what it is. Once you understand it, it will come naturally. No, you are wrong, Stinky dragon, if you don't want it, just hit them until they want it. Longyu was helpless. She and Huangjug had absolutely nothing to say. Hateful. This is a noble and cool divine phoenix who can use any means to achieve his goals. And she is a well-educated and good dragon. Humph, Brother Su will never like someone like you. What are you talking about, dead dragon? I'm going east, don't follow me. Then I'll go to the west, so don't follow me. So as not to steal my points. Long Yu and Huang Zhig left Duan Tianya and soon separated from each other, then flew in two different directions. When they saw the monks, they inserted a spiritual machine. Anyway, there is an introduction on the spiritual machine. As long as the spiritual machine is opened, it will automatically lock Qi machine. Huang Zhig gave it to them directly. If they didn't accept it, he would suppress it, then give it to them, bind it, and leave. And Long Yu wants to speak clearly. The difference in efficiency is immediately apparent. Duan Tianya. Hum hum. Suchanga lay on the recliner and sang leisurely. There is also a huge barbecue grill in the courtyard. Shideo stood beside the barbecue grill, quietly waiting for Suchanga's instructions. Well, now is the time to flip it and turn up the heat. Put this seasoning on, by the way. Good host. Suchanga conducted leisurely, and he took out his inspiration and browsed for a while. In addition to a forum function, a live broadcast function was also updated. This update speed is too fast. The live broadcast is densely packed in the live broadcast room. Suchanga rode and selected. An old man talks seriously about alchemy, and he is so much more popular than a dancing fairy. Suchanga was a little shocked. After all, this is still a fantasy world, and there are more people who want power. But he is already invincible, doesn't he look good to the fairies? He has good body and talent, but he is a bit too weak compared to his strength. No wonder he can only dance and earn some spiritual stones. Suchanga directly clicked into the live broadcast room, and then started to enjoy it with gusto. There were thousands of people in the live broadcast room, which seemed to be a lot, but when the old man lectured on alchemy, there were millions of alchemists listening to it. Just one lecture. The old man's income from spirit stones is simply too much to count. Of course, the spirit machine will automatically deduct taxes. As for recharging, you can directly crush the spirit stones, and the spiritual energy contained in them will be directly absorbed by the spirit network. In other words, Suchanga and Nangongwin now have millions of extra spiritual energy in just one morning. Suchanga didn't feel anything. But Nangongwin has already felt a little pressure, but she can still bear it. Suchanga was intrigued by the sight, casually took out a top-quality spiritual stone, crushed it into pieces, recharged it, and then gave it as a reward. The ancestor of all ways, how exciting! The ancestor of all ways has rewarded you with a top-quality spiritual stone. The ancestor of all ways. All the viewers in the live broadcast room were shocked. The little fairy dancing in the live broadcast room also stopped dancing, with an extremely excited expression. Damn it! Forgot my nickname. Suchanga's forehead was full of black lines and he quickly exited the live broadcast room. What happened? The ancestor of all ways watched the fairy dance. This time his character collapsed. As soon as Suchanga exited, Nangongwin sent a message. That's right, your inspiration has allowed you to find a new use. As expected of you, Suchanga. Nangongwin's cold voice reached Suchanga's ears, making Suchanga shiver. This female devil seems to be angry. Ignore her. Then Suchanga directly threw the idea into out-of-storage space. Out of sight, out of mind. At the same time, Nangongwin looked at a big read and unanswered sign on the smart machine, fell into silence. Ming Kong, what does read mean? Read means the other party has received your message. What if you have read but not replied? Ahem, Your Majesty, I have read but not replied. I saw your message but did not reply to you. It may be that I have forgotten something, or it may be that I did not reply on purpose. Yu Mingkong was dumbfounded and explained to Nangongwin stumblingly. Read and cannot reply. How dare someone dare to read the Lord of Heavenly Palace and be unable to read it back? You know, the most annoying chat is the one that has been read and cannot be answered. Failure to reply after reading will also make the other party quickly feel disgusted and angry towards you. If you care about the other person. After Yu Mingkong finished speaking, she quietly waited for Nangong Wen's reaction. Okay, you go down. Nangong Wen's face was expressionless. In fact, she wanted to bring Suchanga up and beat her up. But she had to maintain the spiritual network. Suchanga. You bastard. Nangong Wen gritted her teeth. Sneeze. Suchanga was sprinkling cumin powder on the barbecue when he suddenly sneezed. Did someone scold me? No, no, I must have added too much cumin. Suchanga shook his head, then hummed a song and grilled meat, feeling very comfortable. Kildeo, watch carefully, this is how it is done. Zideo watched carefully from the side, for fear of missing anything. She was very satisfied with being able to transform into an imperial weapon spirit. So Suchanga asked her to barbecue. She was not dissatisfied at all, but was very interested. Became a black dragon maid. Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 80. The aroma of barbecue was overflowing, and it quickly attracted Su Kingxiu and Xiao Ling. It smells so good. Su Kingxiu looked at the barbecue on the grill and swallowed. It smelled so good. She had been practicing the holy art of all transformations, so she was very hungry, need some meat urgently. Especially the meat of this high-level monster. It smells so good, Sister Heelong's craftsmanship is also good. I mean, Ling thinks Dad's seasoning is more effective. Ling took a big sip of spirit wine, and then sipped the wine from the corner of her mouth with her little hand. Wait until the roast is cooked before eating, Killing Tao, have you learned this? Suchanga smiled, and then handed the cumin seasoning in his hand to Shideo. Got it? Woo woo woo. The black dragon maid took the condiments and foamed at the mouth just as she was about to speak. After a while, he spat out the magazine outside Duan Tianya, and his expression returned to normal. Then continued to grill. Suchanga was stunned. Damn it! Isn't it so disgusting? If you only look at the appearance, no one would have imagined that the cold-looking black dragon sister Shideo would foam at the mouth from time to time. Ahem, Linger, have you really thought about it? Because you are afraid of pain, you put all your defense on. Suchanga squatted down and gently pinched the tip of Linger's nose. Yes. Linger is very afraid of pain. Linger said very seriously. She is really afraid of pain. So if the defense is strong and it doesn't hurt if others hit her, that would be the best. But, how do you beat others and do what you want to do? Suchanga asked with a smile. Linger is still too immature now. When he came into contact with cultivation for the first time, he didn't know what it was for. That's why he made such a childish decision. Just wait until Linger is older. Got it? Ahem, it's normal to grow up as you age. What Linger wants to do most is to accompany her father every day. Does Linger still want to beat her father? Linger rushed into Suchanga's arms, rubbing, very happy. Of course not. Suchanga smiled. Su Kingxiu on the side was obviously a little unhappy. Snored. Although they are good sisters, I am still a little jealous when I see her hugging her dad and acting like a baby. But she couldn't be angry at the little sisters, so Su Kingxiu gave Suchanga a big eye roll as she should. Suchanga felt so wronged. Why stare at your father? Because I'm jealous. Su Kingxiu pinched her waist and felt confident. Thick-skinned. A black line appeared on Suchanga's forehead. This little girl used to be shy if she was jealous, but now she openly expresses her jealousy. Damn it! And now Su Kingxiu has a faint tendency to start to be angry with him. Have to be careful. I'm jealous. Su Kingxiu stretched out her arms towards Suchanga. Although she was still a little arrogant in her heart, she was much better than before. Just be jealous if you're jealous, Why are you extending your paws? I eat vinegar. Got it? Su Kingxiu's face was anxious, and she waved her outstretched arms. Isn't this just for a hug? Wouldn't Dad? Why can't you see this? I know, it's time to eat. Humph, annoying. Su Kingxiu snorted, and then turned her head angrily. But just as she turned her head, a pair of big hands picked her up. Ha ha, dear baby, why are you so jealous? Su Chang'e held Su Kingxiu with one hand, then rubbed Su Kingxiu's little head and said dotingly. Snort. Su Kingxiu snorted, then buried her head in Su Chang'e's arms. Eat, eat, eat. The black dragon maid brought up plates of cut meat, and then placed the chopsticks in front of everyone. It was very elegant. Su Chang'e was very satisfied. It seems that this wave of weapon refining is not a loss. Shideo, I may have to go out recently, please keep an eye on Kingxiu and Ling-er. Su Chang'e is going to look for the ancient black turtle, the Emperor Sutra, which has the strongest defense, and then see where Emperor Qinghai is hiding. If he catches Emperor Qinghai, he will have to go up to the world. He wants to see him again. Nangong Wen is gone. Alas! Su Chang'e is a little helpless. Good host, Gila Gila. Just as the black dragon maid Shideo responded, her expression changed and she hurried out of the yard. Then there was a gurgling sound. Then another spit. What is Dad going to do? Su Kingxiu took a bite of the meat and devoured it. She couldn't speak very clearly. Su Chang'e was simply used to it. Go help Ling-er find a book of exercises, and there's also your mother's business, alas. Su Chang'e sighed and took a sip of spiritual wine. Ouch, this is the technique to find Ling-er. Dad. Ling-er likes you. Ling-er sat on Su Chang'e's shoulders and pinched Su Chang'e's ears. Her face turned red. Dad, you are so kind to Ling-er, Ling-er doesn't even know how to repay you. No need to repay. Use. Need not. Then Ling-er goes and asks Sister Long-Yu how she repaid her father and learn from it. Stop, stop, stop. Su Chang'e actually came up with an idea when he saw Xiao Ling-er, and then seemed to want to contact Long-Yu. Stop it immediately. The answer given by Long-Yu was definitely to promise him with his body. Not so good. If she repays the favor, Ling-er can just cook for her father from now on. Su Chang'e smiled gently. Okay. Ling-er's eyes were smiling like crescent moons, and at the same time, she was cheering herself up in her heart. She must cook for her dad in the future. Starting from tomorrow, Ling-er will learn to cook. A meal that was finished quickly. Ling-er and Su Kingxiu ran to read a book, while Shideo leaned against a jujube tree and foamed at the mouth under the shade. Very indecent. Su Chang'e wanted to make a correction. But killing Deo is also justified, it's been a long time since she purified impurities so freely. She finally had the chance, couldn't she do it again? So Su Chang'e gave up this choice. He lay on the recliner and looked at the idea. It is indeed a lot cleaner now that Long-Yu and Huang Zhig are not here. Let's take a look at the new news in the south and find out where Emperor Qinghai has gone. Su Chang'e turned on his spiritual machine and began to search for news about the southern territory. Many monks have already used the spiritual machine and said it was very novel. Forums related to the southern territory are also very active. A post attracted Su Chang'e's attention. Great turmoil in the south. The Sand Clan is back. The post is very short, but the content is frightening. The Sand Clan is back. At the same time, the Sand Clan's army has marched from the southern border, killing many human races. The high-end combat power of the 4 dynasties in the south, 1 tower, 2 holy lands, 3 sects, they have all suffered a lot. The Sand Clan is coming with great force this time. Su Chang'e carefully recalled the relevant information about the Sand Clan, and he immediately became interested. This sand clan is actually related to Emperor Qinghai. Emperor Qinghai once came from a humble background. Is a tribesman in the desert in the southern realm of the lower realm. When he was born, it was difficult to have food at home, so he was called Wang Ergu, but he has a high understanding. He practiced from the lower realm to the realm of immortality, and then to the upper realm, soaring into the sky. From Venerable Qinghai, to the great sage Qinghai, and finally became the famous Emperor Qinghai. His real name, Wang Ergu, was gradually forgotten. The Sand clan is a race inherited by Emperor Qinghai. Everyone in the clan is practicing Qinghai Emperor Sutra fragments, and their strength is very terrifying. This comeback is just to engulf the southern territory and turn everything in the southern territory into yellow sand. The Sand clan is actually related to Qinghai Emperor Zheng. Suchanga frowned slightly. Why did he think that the Qinghai Emperor Sutra was all related to water? Why did it get together with sand? But it is quite interesting. It reminded him of his favorite game LOL in his previous life. A hero of Azire. Going to see the Sand clan is a good way to remember them. Suchanga smiled slightly and ordered Shideo to take care of Sukingsyu and Suling then set up a formation at Duantianya, then made an auspicious cloud and prepared to fly out. Wait, Dad. I also need to go. Suchanga sighed. It's still too slow. Found. Southern border. The sound of fighting was loud. Countless blood flowed on the ground, and the legions of the human race and the sand race touched each other, like a huge meat grinder that could quickly swallow up all life. In the jungle of the southern border, a sand tribe's regiment was engaged in a decisive battle with the human race. One of the women wearing armor tried her best to fight against a terrifying immortal lizard, but was retreating steadily. She turned out to be Yan Xian, the saint of the holy land of wind and thunder. Damn it, this immortal lizard is so powerful. Such a thing can be born in the desert. Yan Xian was anxious, and at the same time led everyone in the sect to join forces to attack. There are too many of these immortal lizards. Every Sand clan regiment is equipped with such a huge immortal lizard. It's over. A flash of despair flashed in Yan Xian's eyes. The immortal lizard is really terrifying. Plus, the densely packed sand soldiers are simply impossible to resist. Everyone, move back. Give up this line of defense. Yan Xian gave the decisive order. Everyone was slightly shocked. If you give up this line of defense, the loss will be too great. But this is the only choice now. Facing the terrifying immortal lizard, they have no choice at all. Well. Everyone sighed heavily and prepared to retreat. But at this moment, a man in a white robe appeared in their sight. At the same time, the man was holding a little girl carved in pink and jade in his arms. Dad. I want to eat that. Sukingsyu pointed excitedly at the huge immortal lizard. That thing shouldn't be edible. Suchanga stroked his forehead, feeling very helpless. That thing doesn't look like a good thing. Lizards, their mouths are extremely poisonous. No matter what, I will eat it. But you just told me that there are roasted scorpions, roasted spiders, centipedes, and so on in the desert. What's wrong with eating a lizard now? Sukingsyu is eager to give it a try. She feels that with her current level of magical power, she can completely kill this immortal lizard in the realm of dragon transformation by 2 levels. The power of the eternal holy light cannot be resisted by this kind of mortal thing. Well, don't blame the dad if it doesn't taste good. After that, Suchanga was about to take action. I want to hunt by myself.